Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10-4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, Board Office, the schools, Cablevision Channel 118, Verizon Fios Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. Meeting has been scheduled for tonight, Tuesday, November 22nd, 2016. The board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Mara.
The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Thank you, Mr. Mara. Roll call, please.
Dunn,
Here.
Dinoff,
Present.
Hopman, DePrima. Here. Ellis Foster,
Here.
Callie,
Here.
Singh,
Here.
Weber,
Here.
Andriani.
Here.
Quorum exists.
Thank you. Mrs. Walsh, before we continue, I know you're here someplace. All right, I just wanted to make sure that you know that we're having a problem with the sound. It's me.
Turn yours off.
And with that, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As been our custom, we do read one of our sections from the Code of Ethics. So we have a highlight of the month, and I believe that was Mr. Dunn? That was Ms. Calvin. Okay.
Make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of the children and seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move it.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis Foster. I need a second.
Dinoff will second.
Thank you, Mr. Dinoff. Is there any discussion, questions about the minutes? Roll call, Mr. Mara.
Dunn,
Yes.
Dinoff,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Andriani.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Thank you very much. Our next item of business is our student representative, and you'll notice that we have a vacancy tonight because the young lady is involved with the Powder Puff, as are most of our high school students this evening. But she sent a message. Mr. Cittadino will relay that to you all.
Well, thank you very much, and like most young people with 21st century skills, she sent to me text messaging. So I will attempt to read this. First, I do want to say that not only is she involved in the Powder Puff, but she's also doing an audition for her college application tonight as well. So she's thinking of tomorrow instead of just today. First of all, she'd like to recognize and thank the Old Bridge High School PTSA and staff for helping out with the homecoming dance and football game. Over 700 people attended the event, and it was really quite a success. She wanted to thank everyone from her students and staff that attended the fall comedy. It was the worst high school play ever, and it was excellent. That was the name of it. I wasn't critiquing it. Tonight is the Powder Puff game being taken place in these frigid weather at Lombardi Field, and as I drove past it, everyone seemed to be having a good time without major injury. The winter concert, the chorus concert, is December 16th. And the talent show for the high school is on December 7th. The coffee house will take place in this very room on November 29th. And the pep rally is tomorrow, and Courtney Brennan, would like to see everyone from our community, as many as possible, at the Thanksgiving game versus our arch rival, the nemesis from East Brunswick, on Thanksgiving at Lombardi Field at 10 a.m. That's a home game. I hope the Old Bridge High School PTSA will be making pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwiches as tradition on Thanksgiving. Thank you, and that is our report from Courtney Brennan.
All right, this is one of our favorite sections is recognition, and we're going to start with one of our community honorees tonight, Mr. Quinn. You're first up, okay? So would you like to come up? And I don't know who you're being escorted by. You have parents with you, as well as school. Here we go. Ms. Foster is going to come up and stand with you.
So we have Mr. Oliveri, the high school vice principal, bringing up Mr. Quinn, and move the Board of Education to commend Connor Quinn, 11th grader at Old Bridge High School, for achieving the high rank of Eagle Scout with Troop 54 out of Jamesburg.
Good evening. Connor Quinn is a member of the Old Bridge High School class of 2018, who this past April earned the rank of Eagle Scout with Boy Scout Troop number 54 of Jamesburg, New Jersey. To earn this high honor, an Eagle Scout must plan, develop, and lead others in a service project that helps a community organization not affiliated with the Boy Scouts of America. Connor led a group of scouts, leaders, and friends in an effort to help beautify the Presbyterian Church of Jamesburg. He gathered donations and supplies from local businesses, planted the trees and shrubs, and designed the font and color scheme for the brand new entrance signs. Additionally, Connor has recently participated in National Youth Leadership Training, all the while maintaining a GPA of 3.9 during his high school career. Connor, on behalf of the administration, we couldn't be more proud of your accomplishments and your commitment to making your community a better place. Congratulations.
I am one for words. Well, I don't really got a speech or anything, but I'd like to thank, well, the school in general, and especially Mr. Oliveri for this reward and this recognition. Pretty important thing in my life. But thank you.
My son is a scout, so I know how much it is.
Connor, we have a certificate. It was in my folder. There we go. Thank you very much, and we're so glad that you are a proud member of our Old Bridge community. And anybody that comes to these meetings knows that I do not pass up the opportunity to give shout-outs to Eagle Scouts and the Boy Scouts of America in general. Over 300 individual requirements are necessary. Some are badge earning, some are time commitment, some are skills, some are leadership, and many, many, many community requirements are involved in attaining that. It's not something that you're given, it's something that you're earned. And once that you are an Eagle Scout, you are always an Eagle Scout. So thank you very much. Mr. Oliveri, thank you very much. Next up, nightlife. Mr. DePrima, if you wouldn't mind.
May I read
Mr.
this?
Celentano, is that you? Or Mr. Oliveri? Yes, it is? Okay.
May I read this?
I guess.
Move the Board of Education to recognize Nightlife newspaper as the recipient of the Overall Excellence Award at the Garden State Scholastic Press Association's annual fall conference. This is the third time in 8 years the newspaper received top honors for a large school with enrollment over 1,500. The newspaper received perfect scores in writing and coverage.
5 times a year, Old Bridge High School's journalism students publish the school's newspaper, Nightlife. They work diligently to find interesting stories and spend hours proofreading articles, making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And even in our digital age, where most people get their news from a screen, they remind us the value of holding an actual newspaper in their hands. Over the summer, our writers were recognized for their efforts. I would like to introduce the Nightlife's moderator, Mrs. Lori Lucci, to come up and explain about this honor.
So Nightlife took first place for the overall excellence at the Garden State Scholastic Press Association's annual newspaper contest. The staff learned it won top honors at the annual conference, which was held in October at Rutgers University. This is the third time the paper took top honors in 8 years. The students spend long hours interviewing, writing, editing, and laying out pages. And while the majority of the work is done during journalism classes, the teens spend late nights at the school working on the product. I want to thank the parents for picking up their children as late as 9:30 at night when we are working on deadlines. Probably the most rewarding news, though, that came out of this contest is that we received perfect scores for coverage of all aspects of the school, our opinion writing, feature writing, artwork and illustrations, and we received near perfect scores for writing and editing, earning 340 out of 350 points. I could not be more proud of these kids who represent grades 9 through 12.
When you're done, line up, I'll take a picture.
Oh, you're going to take a picture? Okay.
When you're done.
All right.
Are we presenting this?
Sure. Raul Jane. Oh, stand on the stage. Justin Ostrowski. Not here. Matt Augusta.
Not here.
Their own stories. Ben DiSabatino. He's not here. Sage Short. Nick Carroll. Anybody here? Kimberly Kraczynski. Victoria Mion. Okay. Adriana Lalla. Amanda Anderson. Joelle Tancredi. Jared Eisenberg. Alexa Nikitas. And three students who are currently in college. Stephen Strom. Sanal Madhawk. She's in high school. She moved to Florida, where she's an editor at her school newspaper. And Priyanka Alori.
You go.
Oh, you go.
Thank you and congratulations. Mr. Dunn, if you wouldn't mind. Our next section in recognition is for our schools of character and for our schools that have been recognized for best practice. So Mr. Dunn has been involved in that process on the board end as a liaison, so he's going to be with, are we doing this in order? Then it's Cooper
Ms.
Schools
Andriani,
first.
I just want to say something before they go up, okay?
Okay.
So this is always a pleasure to have the opportunity to recognize our schools for showing good character. For the past 5 years, we've had the pleasure to recognize our schools for work in developing and instilling good character in our students. Tonight, we will again recognize students for their effort toward creating a positive culture and climate and for sustaining these initiatives over time. I would like to share with you an example of how these efforts are demonstrated by our students and the impression that our students have on those who come in contact with them. This is a post from a Piscataway parent working the concession stand at Saturday's football game. Shout out to the parents of the students from Old Bridge that came to today's playoff game at Piscataway. I worked the concession cash box at halftime, and every single Old Bridge student said thank you, and most said, have a nice day, as they walked away. It was so consistent that it was remarkable. Some of the most well-mannered kids I've come across in the past few years working with the PHS Booster Club. Kudos to the Old Bridge community. This is something that our students consistently demonstrate the core values that we expect, and they stand out in a crowd. This is something that we should all be very proud of. Tonight, our first school that we can call to the podium, Kathy Gramata, principal of Cooper Elementary School, is being recognized as the National School of Character and for the best practice for readers of the pack. So we have a lot of Cooper students and faculty. You can come up onto the stage.
Come on, Cooper kids.
Ms. Dunn, can we put you in charge of organizing it and move the center
Thank
of it
you.
and everything? There we go.
I like the Cooper Rocks t-shirt.
Okay, all right, that's true, okay. Good evening. We all stand here tonight beaming with pride over our recognition as a National School of Character, as well as our National Promising Practice. At Cooper, staff, students, parents, community members, and leaders have worked steadily over the years to build a solid foundation to springboard our character education. Tonight isn't solely about banners and awards. It's about our belief in the value that character education teaches habits to help students live and work together as friends, neighbors, teams, and families. With every morning meeting that we do to kick off our new pillar, to our Kids Crafts for a Cure Club making a garden for another school, to our annual Pink Out event for the Mama Mare Foundation, and to our award-winning Readers of the Pack ESL program, Cooper continues to demonstrate a passion to stand out simply as a school that cares. We couldn't be more grateful for this amazing achievement. To my students, thank you for coming. To my students, thank you for not only believing in the good of the world, but believing in each other. To our parents, it is an honor to work alongside of you every single day, year after year. To our community friends and neighbors, thank you for all of your unwavering support. And to the Cooper crew, I'm gonna well up with tears. Words could not capture our admiration for your dedication to your craft. Please remember that where your children will achieve academic excellence in school, some of the most important learning will concern character, compassion, kindness, sacrifice, and responsibility. And Cooper is honored to be a part of that journey. Thank you. I know. I'm like,
Our second school this evening being recognized is Grissom Elementary School. Dr. Arrico wasn't able to be in attendance this evening, but Maureen McKiernan, a teacher at Grissom, is speaking on his behalf, and I believe there are some colleagues here along with her.
Our banner's already screwed to the wall, so I couldn't get it down.
So some of our schools went home from the conference and immediately hung their banners, so they weren't able to bring them.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Unfortunately, Dr. Arrico could not be in attendance tonight to share in this celebrating another accomplishment by Old Bridge Township Public Schools. Tonight, Dr. Arrico's son is being inducted into the Jackson National Honor Art Society, certainly an accomplishment no family member should miss. While our banner is pinned proudly outside of the main office, surrounded by multiple plaques and frames in recognition of the character nurtured at Grissom Elementary School, everyone in connection to Grissom School has recognized that it isn't about the enormous banner, the shiny plaques, or beautiful frames, but more about the journey of growth within each member of our Grissom community as we travel together along our character moral highway. Grissom's Moral Compass has taken each Grissom Gator, parent, and community member that steps onto the property at 1 Sims Avenue along a route to a happy, positive, and productive, ethically based school community. Staff has been eager to develop character education programs together to foster a new environment based on positive character and climate as defined in our mission statement. We focused character initiatives on creating lifelong learners, embracing varied learning styles, creating a safe environment, developing character, creating community awareness, and preparing our students for the global community. This culture shift in the building increased collaboration. This collaboration led to improved communication, which led to self-efficacy in faculty, parents, community leaders, and most importantly, the students. Our young Gators went from what can I get or I deserve this to who needs help and what can I do to help and make a difference. In closing, my message to those Grissom Gators at home watching is to continue to do the right thing, even when the right thing is hard to do. I am proud of everyone associated with Grissom Elementary School and consider myself fortunate to be its principal. Sincerely, Dr. Tony Arrigo.
Everyone up, we'll take a picture.
Ms. McKiernan, you don't have to turn around, but just, not only you were a great orator, but a great rapper.
Our next school being recognized tonight is a previously designated National School of Character, but tonight they're here being honored for a best practice, the Husky Pawing Pillow, and that's Memorial School. Mr. Payton?
I'd like to invite my staff up, please, to join me.
Ladies, you're in the corner. Come up here. Come.
We'll slide that sign down so we can get on television. And next to... Slide down, come on.
We had carpool, so it was every day I didn't drive independently. I first like to start by saying good evening to everyone here this evening. Memorial Elementary School has infused the 11 principles of effective character education into their daily curriculum and culture. When you walk into Memorial School, the atmosphere is infectious, where you will find mutual, that goes on all day, by the way, where you will find mutual caring, respecting students, making wiser choices, and where students value learning and care about their teachers, classmates, community, and themselves. Students at Memorial have used the core values of character education to improve academic achievement, behavior, school culture, and peer interactions. We have seen a dramatic transformation in pro-social behaviors such as cooperation, respect, compassion, and they're replacing negative behaviors such as disrespect, apathy, and underachievement. If students are said to be the future of the nation, then the teachers are those who can be referred to as the future builders of the nation. The theme we should be celebrating is the hard work and effort put forth daily by my colleagues standing here this evening representing Memorial School. I want to congratulate them on making our school what we want it to be, certainly for their resilience and their compassion they show day in and day out. Please give them a round of applause for that. Lastly, I would like to take the opportunity to wish the Central Administration, the Board of Education members, and everyone here a happy Thanksgiving, healthy with your families. Thank you.
Our next school, Shepherd Elementary School, is being recognized tonight for the second time as a National School of Character, and they are also here being recognized for Best Practice Disability Awareness Day. Mr. Maranzoli?
Well, thank you very much for the introduction, and good evening, Mr. Cittadino, Dr. Hoker, distinguished Board of Education members, and community members. With Thanksgiving merely a day away, I must first start by saying thank you for the recognition tonight. When I reflect on the fact that Allen B. Shepherd Elementary School had the honor of being named a National School of Character, I think of all of the teachers, the staff, the counselors, the community members, the PTA, the students, the parents, everybody who helped Shepherd earn this distinguished title. But what really gives me pause for thought is that this is indeed the second time that the community at Shepherd School has achieved this prestigious distinction. It actually began when Dr. Hoker was principal at Shepherd and continued during both Dr. Simon's time at Shepherd and through my time as well. The fact that Shepherd earned this honor through several rotations of leadership is proof positive that the values and the projects and all those words on the applications have truly been ingrained in the daily workings of the school and of the community. Not only has Shepherd been recognized as a state and a national school of character, but we've been busy over the last number of years developing projects that have been noticed by Character.org as promising practices. 4 actually have been recognized: the World of Character, Character Connections, Service with a Smiles, Service Learning Partnership with the Ronald McDonald House, and most recently, as you heard, our Ability Awareness Day that highlighted and celebrated the abilities of our LD and our MD students. In addition, we've had 2 episodes of Channel 12's Classroom Close-Up focus on an ESL project and also a Holocaust education program here at Shepherd. I'm joined here tonight by some of our representatives of Shepherd's phenomenal staff. I am truly grateful for all that they do each and every day for our students, your children, and I thank you for this recognition. Congratulations to all the other recipients, and a happy Thanksgiving, and may we enter into a wonderful holiday season. Thank you.
And our final school being recognized tonight for National School of Character status is Carl Sandburg Middle School. We have Dr. Simon, and it looks like quite a few staff members.
Dr. It's like you're lining them up 2 by 2. Let's go. Come on, everybody. You have students with you too?
I
Simon?
recognize many of these faces from the karaoke.
This is the first time I've noted that the staff at Sandburg is being shy. That doesn't usually happen. Good evening, everyone. I'm proud to be standing here with the representatives from Carl Sandburg Middle School to recognize the hard work and dedication of our students, our staff, and our families. It is my honor to also recognize our friend and colleague, Ann Panagakis, who was the leader and champion for our character education program. It is through her efforts and those of the character education team, our students, our staff, and our families that our school community has been honored both as a state and national school of character. We know that by hanging the banner on the wall of the school, that we are making a commitment to live by the standards that resulted in this honor. Our students continue to learn that being part of the school community extends beyond their academic responsibilities. Over the last 3 years, we have seen a continuous increase in the number of students who are participating in sports and clubs, activities, and the arts. We've partnered with the community organizations to provide opportunities for our students to serve others. And just in looking at the staff that are represented here tonight, that we have students, our student council who did a Halloween ball for the seniors at the Reformed Church. We had our peer mediators who were recently invited to do a presentation for the New Jersey State Bar Association, and then we're training teachers and staff in Rahway to bring peer mediation to their schools. This is just 2 examples of the wonderful things that are happening in our school. In closing, character education is not an add-on. The principles of good character create the pulse of our school. I'm so proud of our students and the staff for the work that they do each and every day to make Sandburg a great place to come every single day. Congratulations to our students and our staff and our families. I'm so, so proud of all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations. We have one more recognition, and then I'll ask for a gracious exit. But we do have Memorial School. One more time again, Mr. Payton. Ms. Callie is going to join you at the podium. Mr. Cittadino?
Okay, move the board to acknowledge that on September 12, 2016, the National PTA has recognized Memorial Elementary School and its PTA as a National PTA School of Excellence for their achievement in building effective school and family partnerships. What a great achievement. Mr. Payton, please address the podium.
For our former board members and our former president who's here this evening, Mrs. Levitt, and our current president, Mrs. Diatuno, and our current board members, I just want to say thank you for your leadership, for the honor of working with you to make a difference in our community and in our school. We've come a long way, and it's through your stewardship and your guidance that has happened. Our school works seamlessly, not only through the current board and the current president, but through the opportunity of working with the former board and president, and it's just something that makes a tremendous difference. And for that, on behalf of the students and the staff, I say thank you for that commitment.
Is this the first time you've had an issue with PTA?
Two others, Miller and Jonas Salk.
Recently?
You can do a motion and voting after this, right?
Thank you, and congratulations to everyone. Just again, want to point out that the commitment of our staff, our administrators, our teachers, educators, PTA, parents, and community make all of this happen. So it's just a pleasure to be here, to see the community come together and have so many wonderful people be recognized this evening. And at this point, I need a motion for the recognition portion.
Dunn will make a motion for recognitions, items 1 through 4.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. I need a second.
Callie will second.
Okay, Ms. Callie, thank you very much. Any discussion from anyone? No? All right, Mr. Mara, roll call, please.
Dinov?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Callie?
Yes.
Singh?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Andriani?
Yes. Okay, at this point, we're going to start getting into the meat and the guts of our meeting, and you certainly are welcome to remain. However, I know some of you have a long trip, some of you have children at home, some of you have homework or lesson plans. So this would be the time for a graceful, get ready for Thanksgiving. So this is the time for a graceful exit. And when that happens, we'll have empty seats. Am I?
Testing 1 2 1 2.
You want me to hit the priority button instead?
Testing 1 2. I don't know what. Shut everybody's mic down.
All right, if I could have your attention at this point, ladies, gentlemen. You're gonna make me gavel? Thank you. All right, we're going to continue. Our next item up is the superintendent's report. I will move my mic.
I'm just going to ask one thing. If I'm going to speak out of order here for a little bit. Mr. Mara, can you read correspondence because it kind of ties to where I'm going to go in a minute?
This is a letter from the State of New Jersey State Board of Education addressed to Mr. David Cittadino, Superintendent. Dear Mr. Cittadino, it was a pleasure seeing you on Monday, October 24th.
Enough said. No, just kidding.
I want to thank you, Caitlin Calandria, and Kathleen Hoker for taking the time out of your busy schedules to continue our conversation about the important work that you and your staff are doing in your school district. I found it very valuable to learn more about the Response to Intervention program and was thrilled to hear in detail how your program is providing resources and educational support to struggling students. Thank you again for inviting me into your school district. Sincerely, Michael Biedron, President of the New Jersey State Board of Education.
Okay, the reason I wanted you to read that because part of my superintendent's report revolves around conversations and meetings with Michael Biedron, the State Board of Education President. There's been on 2 occasions that he has invited us, Old Bridge Township, to speak before the State Board of Education on important topics. One was the culmination of part of tonight's recognition was the Character Education Program in Old Bridge, and another time was recently on the Response to Intervention Program as the State Department of Education has moved towards an intervention services recommendation for all school districts. On the last Friday, I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Biedron again, and first thing he did was apologize. He apologized to all superintendents and educators, especially our teachers in the state of New Jersey, because of the disconnect that exists between the Department of Education, legislation, and the Board of Education. On the day that schools opened, most educators and leaders were notified about a change in the way SGPs were used to calculate teacher performance from 10% to 30% on that very day through the newspaper. I learned also that the Board of Education, including Mr. Biedron, found out about it that morning as well by reading NewJersey.com. That kind of disconnect cannot go forward in leadership, and it caused him to look at the way the Department of Education and the Board of Education communicates and to look at doing a strategic plan for the Board of Education. And kind of connects to where I'll go with our strategic plan, but I want to stay with Mr. Biedron's comments that he made on Friday as well. The first part of the strategic plan that he states that he has the endorsement of the new Commissioner of Education, Acting Commissioner Kimberly Harrington, is that there has to be flexibility in education going forward. And the flexibility is that not everything that we do in schools has to be assessed and tested. There are certain skills that you learn similar to character education and school climate and culture that don't call for a test. And there needs to be that flexibility going forward. Additionally, there needs to be an additional attention paid to 21st century skills and support for 21st century skills in our schools. There needs to be additional attention to ethics in our schools, the way we teach and prepare our students with lessons on ethics. But I found his next comment to be most rewarding after Old Bridge was asked to speak before the State Board of Education about our school climate and culture. And then we hear the comments from social media that Dr. Hoker addressed, and then we have our students and staffs proudly demonstrating and displaying their banners as national schools of character, is that he said that the next and most important pillar is that all schools in New Jersey have to demonstrate an infusion of culture and climate in their schools, and he's encouraging every district in New Jersey to apply to be a national district of character. And I just think it's amazing that we have the response to intervention program. They asked us to speak before the State Board of Education, and the state moved towards interventions. We bring in, through the work of every teacher, community member in this district, including Dr. Hoker, to bring in National Schools of Character, and their step is to recommend that for all school districts. And he also wants schools to move towards the green school initiatives as well. But I found that very interesting. The next thing we talked about was something that should be on the radar for every parent, family member, and community member in Old Bridge. There is now an application before the State Board of Education and the Department of Education for a charter school to open in Old Bridge, New Jersey. The charter application is for a school on Route 9 across from ShopRite. It is currently a, I think, Sayerwood's Bible School next to the Just Restaurant. And the application they're looking for is looking to pull or draw from Old Bridge schools up to 900 students over the course of years, progressing. I think Mr. Mara could speak to that, or at least agree that we would be responsible for the tuition of 90% of the tuition for each of those students. That's correct. Roughly around $10,000 per student. If you look at 900 students and $10,000, quick math would tell you that's $9 million a year that we would have to funnel out of our local budget to fund a charter school in Old Bridge, New Jersey. The concern for that is, that would have a tremendous impact on our ability to deliver services and programs for what I would deem as a niche type of charter school in a community that has shown growth, has shown national recognition. We have, as demonstrated tonight, a third national PTA in the district of Old Bridge. And they don't just give those away. That shows schools and communities working together. And now to have a national district of character, and again, it was only a few short years ago, New Jersey Monthly Magazine had us ranked at 213th, our high school, and now we're at 143. So we're moving in the right direction. And to state that, that this is the place a charter school is needed is ridiculous. As an educator who started his teaching in urban populations, I understood the need for charter schools. I understood where they were going, where parents needed to feel that there was a safe response to their children to send them to a school where they could feel safe and secure in failing school districts. Old Bridge is not a failing school district. Old Bridge definitely demonstrates that it's not a district where your child does not feel safe and secure going to school. And Old Bridge is certainly not a place where a charter school is needed for the population that draws upon the funding and the supports that we have here in Old Bridge for our schools. So more information will come out. We'll be looking for a response from the board. I would recommend the board to put together a resolution against this charter school. I have spoken to Mr. Bedron. He understands the position and quite frankly told me that Old Bridge does not need a charter school. So hopefully that support and support of the Department of Education and Kimberly Harrington will take us further, but it's something that everyone needs to have on their radar as we move forward if we want to continue to progress as a school district in Old Bridge and seeing the growth that we are having. The last part is our strategic plan as we look towards the future of Old Bridge schools into 2021 and beyond. We're looking at developing a strategic plan. As you may remember, we brought in an outside consultant. We weren't able to work with that outside consultant due to legal reasons. We have a new consultant coming in, Joanne Parati. She's worked with over 50 districts and corporations on strategic planning, and we're going to meet with her on December 13th, members of our board and myself and members of my cabinet. Hopefully we can work forward from there, and I invite again, the most important part of a strategic plan is the parents and the community members' involvement and the staff involvement. And last but not least, the student involvement. So that is my superintendent's report. I will definitely keep you up to date as far as going forward with our actions with the charter school and information about the strategic plan. I now have a progress towards goals report, and that'll be our school testing report, and I'm asking our supervisor of guidance and testing, Mr. Jeffrey Caulfield, to come up to the podium. We'll give him a little time to sit up there. while he's setting up, I do want to give some accolades to, if you look at, there's an independent source, a web source out there, schooldigger.com, that takes schools' park results, test results, and kind of rates them, puts them in a matrix, and compares them to other school districts, and whereas you compare and so forth. And one thing that schooldigger.com reported was that out of all the districts in Middlesex County, only one had a elementary school perform in the top 20 in the recent park exam. And Old Bridge was that one school as the only district in Middlesex County. And there was Shiraz School performing, coming in at number 19 in the entire state of over, I want to say 413, no, 1,000, I'm sorry, it's much bigger, 1,000, over 1,000 elementary schools. So, great accolades to them. Mr. Caulfield, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Cittadino, Dr. Hoker, Old Bridge Township Board of Education, for the opportunity to present our annual testing report. Topics for this evening's presentation include the park implementation and results from the 2016 spring assessment, as well as the College Board data, including PSAT from last October, SAT historical data over the past 5 years, as well as advanced placement testing. I'll start with the park. Just one quick note, the park has been around for 2 years, so we have to understand that the park is using this opportunity to validate their data. We have shown growth and improvement in most of the areas with the park assessment, which is good news. So the park data that is the first half of the presentation, it's new, it's 2 years, they're working on it. The College Board data, it's been around in effect forever, so that's more of the data that's been, proven over years in time and, for literally decades. So with the park assessment, students took park in English Language Arts in grades 3 through 11, and students took park mathematics in grades 3 through 8, as well as Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 at the high school level. So now to the numbers. 9 grade levels were tested in ELA and mathematics, which gives us 18 district data points comparing results with the state of New Jersey. Old Bridge Township Public Schools outperformed the state in 12 of the 18 areas. Worthy of note, in 2015, we outperformed the state in 11 of 18 areas, again, showing gradual growth. I'll have a graphic representation of each one of the grade levels and how we compare to the state of New Jersey. So for each one of these grade levels at the elementary school, great news is that we outperformed the state of New Jersey in all of the grades 3 through 5 areas. You actually see significantly outperform the state in all of these areas as well. So for grades 3, you can see outperformed in both areas, similar for grade 4. And then also for grade 5. You see a significant how we outperform the state in each one of these areas. So again, when you look at some of this data, some anomalies will exist. When we transition to grade 6, I think I can do it. You got it? I think so. So for grade 6, you'll see that the state outperformed us in each of the areas of ELA and also math. So what we do with this data, we're going to look back 1 year and look at the 2015 results from the park assessment. So we can actually, the data points that they do give us, we can compare how those students scored in each one of the clusters from 2015 and see where the commonalities are and where we needed improvement, and also where our strengths were when we look at grade 5 from 2015 into grade 6 in 2016. So again, good news, when you transition, you see a significant rebound. When you look at grade 7, we then go back to outperforming the state in ELA and also in mathematics. And again, similar results in grade 8. We're competitive with the state in ELA and then outperforming the state in the area of mathematics. So as we transition to the high school park data, the good news for the high school, we outperformed the state in all of the areas of English Language Arts. And then when you look at the park math data for the high school, again, Algebra 1 is going to be similar to grade 6, where we're going to use this information to go back 1 year and see where our strengths and weaknesses were, and then see the commonalities between those strengths and weaknesses as we transition into the 2016 assessment. For grade 10, again, you'll see we outperformed the state in English Language Arts and we were competitive with the state in geometry. And again, geometry is most grade 10 students take geometry. I just put it here as a space filler. And similar for grade 11, again, outperformed the state in ELA, and again, competitive with the state in Algebra 2. So now moving on to what we do with this. The park sent us the paper score reports this year in September, so they actually improved on their end. It was 3 months earlier than the 2015 results. So again, one of the important concepts of giving data to students and parents and teachers, you want that data back as soon as possible at the start of the school year so that we could use it to target instruction and improve instruction on an overall level. So the park score reports were received and sent home on or about September 23rd. And then the state and Pearson suggested 4 websites to include with the letter for resources for parents. So now how Old Bridge is using data to improve instruction. There are 2 main components. We have a component that is distributed to the principals, and it's called a grade level analysis by school. And I have a graphic to show you what that represents and what it means for each one of the building principals. And then for our teachers, we have a current roster report for the 16-17 where we can take last year's park data and then give teachers information regarding the students who are in their classes this year. Thank you, Dr. Tom Ferry, principal of Cheesequake Elementary, and Soar the Scores for putting together that data and those reports for us. So example for grade 3, this is actually the district, not just one single school, but you can see, sorry it's a little bit small, but you can see the columns, the top rows are for ELA and the bottom rows are for math. So when you look at the green column on the right side of the screen, I use grade 3 because we outperform the state in all of the areas within English language arts as well as math. But what we can use this for, you can see in certain areas we outperform the state by 20%. So the priority for improvement in that area would be low. Where you can see another area like modeling, we only outperform the state by 6 points in that area of ELA, so we know we have a specific focus at that grade level for modeling to improve our student learning. Now a little more specific example of how we can use the Soar the Scores report to target instruction. This is the Algebra 2 report, and you can see the bottom has 4 clusters. So we outperform the state in 3 of the 4 clusters. So it's showing that we're demonstrating growth in that area. And the last cluster, we underperform the state by 7 points in one specific area that's being tested. So the state park data is actually going to show us specific areas of strength and specific areas of weakness so we can target and differentiate instruction. Now, what each one of our teachers receives, so we are expanding this into the high school level now. Last year, we were able to get this data out to the grades 4 through 8 teachers. So we can actually use the data from the students who tested last year and get that in the hands of the teachers who have those students on their roster this year. So what each teacher is going to receive is, I have obviously not student names on this report, but for student 1 is a classic example of a student who they have cluster data. So the teacher is going to get a report that you have red, which is below expectation, you have yellow, which is approaching the expectation, and then you have green, which is met or exceeded. So each teacher can actually see for every student in their class who took the park last year, and they can use this information to target specific areas for specific students, whether it's differentiating instruction, or you can use groups to group students with similar needs, or even use other students who have a particular strength in that area. So that's it for the park data. If there are any questions before I move along to the College Board? Seeing none. College Board historical data. Again, the College Board has been around for a long time. The state is still, in Pearson, are using this opportunity to validate the data, the questions on the park assessment. They've done a good job. The data has been relatively stable with the park, but the College Board is something that's been around for a long time, and this has been proven over years upon years. So SAT, AP, and PSAT are important indicators of growth and improvement for schools. Following is analysis of the College Board's 5-year report. The College Board always reports everything in 5-year increments so you can get a historical perspective beyond the 4 years of high school. So thank you, Old Bridge Township Board of Education, for supporting the PSAT initiative in 2013. You see a significant spike or like a springboard in our scores from the transition from 2013 2014, and one of the significant factors, along with Mr. Cittadino being appointed superintendent and the character education initiatives and many things, highly effective instructional leadership team and our fantastic group of teachers and support staff, but the PSAT is going to give our students data and results that they can specifically use regarding all of these assessments. So when you look at the SAT longitudinal data, occasionally when you look at data without anything to compare it to, this graphic is actually going to represent that Old Bridge High School went down in our SAT results in 2016 as well as 2015. But when you use this data, the College Board, in effect, made the test too easy as they transitioned from 2013 to 2014. So you have to have something to compare that data to. When you look at the 5-year change of the SAT combined score, now you can compare our data from the 3 sections, the writing is now optional, and then a combined score. So in critical reading, over the past 5 years, Old Bridge High School has improved by 8 points, where the state has flatlined at 0. In the area of math, Old Bridge High School has improved by 2, where the state has declined by 3 points. In the area of writing, you see that we've improved by 5 points, where the state has gone down by 7. When you combine all of this data across the 3 assessments within the SAT, you see that Old Bridge High School has improved by 15 points, where the state has declined by 10, which is showing or demonstrating a 25% improvement in Old Bridge High School versus the state of New Jersey over the past 5 years, which is significant growth. So to demonstrate kind of a graphic representation of this SAT combined data, when you look at it, you go back to 2012, 2013, which I'll call pre-Old Bridge PSAT time. You see that we were competitive with the state of New Jersey, and then you see the spike in 2014 where we significantly outperform and also maintain that outperformance over the past 3 years. One of the things I most appreciate about data is when it's stable, it's actually going to teach you more. So you're going to see when you break down that SAT combined data into each one of the components of the SAT, you're going to see exactly the same results across all 3 of those areas. So again, SAT critical reading, we were actually outperformed by the state 5 years ago significantly. And again, that transition to the PSAT and the growth in 2014 sustained over the past 3 years. Similar information for math, we were competitive 5 and 4 years ago, and then you see the same spike in 2014, again, sustained. So actually you see in 2016, we actually outperformed the state by a greater margin than we did in 2015. And again, similar results for SAT writing. So this is great news. It's showing that we are continuing and maintaining our growth and our improvement at Old Bridge High School and even district-wide, which is preparing our students for the 21st century workforce. So advanced placement testing. AP testing, we've expanded our program significantly over the past 5 years. What that does is we've gone from somewhere of testing in the AP world from somewhere in the neighborhood of like 35% of our population to over 50% of our population. So that's a challenge for schools because occasionally when you open up that door, you're going to have more students who are going to struggle on those highly competitive assessments. That isn't the case at Old Bridge High School. We've expanded our program significantly, which I'll demonstrate in these future slides, but you can see that we outperform the state in the percentage of students who score 3+, which is considered getting college credit and or placement. And then to demonstrate the growth of the program at Old Bridge High School, when you look at total AP students, meaning the total number of students who took at least one AP exam, we have grown from, we were under 250 students in 2012, and last year we administered tests to over, or approaching 400 students, nearly 150 more students taking AP exams at Old Bridge High School over the past 5 years. As you may know, students can take more than one AP exam. So when you look at the total number of AP exams, we show a similar sort of a growth. When you look back to 2012, we had just over 400 students who were taking total number of AP exams, where in 2016 we had over 750, a growth of over 300 AP exams being administered at Old Bridge High School. Thank you, Old Bridge Township Board of Education, Mr. Cittadino and Dr. Hooker, for your continued support and the opportunity to present Old Bridge Township Public Schools Annual Testing Report. If there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to field them.
So I don't have a question, just two clarifications or just things for the public. The SAT, the park scores are now also available in real time? So you can, there's a tab there for testing for anybody who has a filing system like myself that you can never find them. You can now find them online, which is helpful. And the other thing, I know, Mr. Coffey, you had mentioned this, while it says the 2016 SATs, it's actually 2015, so it's not the new SATs.
Yeah, think of it as
So-
the class of 2016.
Right, so when parents are looking at this, think it's the 2016, that's when the new SAT
Right.
test came in. That will probably be reflected, we'll see that next year.
The writing is still optional. The writing is still optional and even actually required by a number of schools, even within the state of New Jersey.
And
So
then with the new one, the scoring changed.
there is still, the scoring did change, but some schools are still requiring the writing section. So some schools are 2,400, some schools are 16s.
Okay, great.
So
Thank
it
you.
depends on the specific school.
Great, thank you very much. And
You're
will
very
we have
welcome.
this posted for the public? On the site? Might be
Yes.
helpful. I think, it's very pretty colors,
It-
so, thank you.
I should make Old Bridge purple.
Thank you, Mr. Caulfield. And I very happy that you brought up the PSAT. I want to reiterate the strength of that particular program. I was part of the spearhead for that initiative. Prior to 2013, it was, I don't want to say that it was optional, but it was optional, and it was always on a Saturday, and the sophomores were not necessarily encouraged to take the test. PSAT is basically for the juniors. However, by initiating a plan to do it during school was a time commitment as well as a financial commitment to have all the sophomores take the test. So they all receive an individualized score report of the answers that they provided, what answers were the correct answer, and what answers they had wrong. So besides the actual score, they're given a module and their original paperwork back so that they could use that as a self-assessment for growth so that they can self-tutor and move along with recognizing their strengths and weaknesses and areas of improvement. So I think that goes hand in hand with the SATs, whether the scores are up or down as they fluctuate across the years, along with the state. It is still now, that particular initiative has kept us ahead of the New Jersey scores, anyway. So thank you very much.
Madam President, I have a question for Mr. Caulfield.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Caulfield, in your professional opinion, the increase in our SAT scores are extraordinary. I think over the last 3 years, we've made incredible strides. And I believe in analytics. I believe looking at the numbers and seeing exactly why. And the numbers should tell us a tale. But could you tell the Board of Education and the public, in your opinion, what is the catalyst? What is causing our scores to increase? That's very important because we see the scores increasing, but we need to know the dynamic, why they are. Could you allude to some of those reasons?
If you look back 5 years, first of all, you can go with the transition into Mr. Cittadino and Dr. Hoker and an incredibly supportive central administration. You can also look at Mr. Sasso and his high school administrative team. All were new around that time. I could go back. 5 years ago, I had started, so I don't know exactly the history, but it was close to that. So I look for a supportive central administrative team. And also in Old Bridge High School has transitioned in the 5 years that I've been there, or at least my office is there. The climate of the school, this climate of support, the climate of the pep rally it's an amazing thing. So it's all of those things that come together to support our students. And the PSAT initiative is important. I mean, like Dr. Andriani had mentioned, the students actually get their own test booklet back. So, if they scratch in the notes on the margins of the test, they literally get their own test booklet back to go back through, and then they do get the answer they provided, the correct answer, and even My College Quick Start gives you a reason as to why. So, there's a positive climate. I mean, character education, it's not just, it's not just rainbows and butterflies. It's about a climate within our schools where our students feel comfortable to learn and to progress, and that's the data that we see from the College Board. It's all encompassing data. I mean, it's undeniable that there's been significant improvement and sustained improvement over the past 3 years, and even 5.
And do we see the increase continuing? Have we plateaued as a school district with the SATs for our high schoolers, or do you see us exceeding and excelling further?
I mean, I don't think it necessarily plateaus. I mean, the one thing when you have a significant spike like we did in 2014, I mean, the College Board data is somewhat steady, even if you look over decades, and, we could reach our capacity at some point. I mean, you look at the number of students and the number of AP exams that we're administering, at some point there has to be a cap to the growth, but I can't see any in the foreseeable future. I mean, we've, working with the administration and central administration to continue to promote, all the growth in school climate and everything that is positive about Old Bridge Township Public Schools.
And we on the Board of Education need to continue supporting our administration and our school system to ensure that we give you the resources to excel. Thank you, Mr. Caulfield.
I agree. Thank you.
Mr. Dunn, I just want to point out to you, just as a reminder, that all of these testing results, these assessment results, are all measuring different cadres of students. So you're not looking at the 6th grade into the 7th grade or the PSAT into the SAT in many cases. What you're doing is every group is being scored and tested, and then the following year, it's the new group of 6th graders. So when we're talking about growth, we're talking about sustained growth, systemic growth, not necessarily the same students. So that's why we have fluctuations as well. Okay.
I just want to clarify on the decision to go with the PSAT as a regularly tested battery. A lot of that work was done with high school administrative staff, including Jim Toohey, and we looked at it. It made both financial sense and it made sense for the students and the parents to prepare them for the test instead of having them taken on Saturday. We used to take the S test, which provide us with no statistical data that we could use to assess our students, and even better to prepare them for next year's testing. When we went with the PSAT during the school day, it would make financial sense and much better sense for our students and our parents. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Facilities, moving along. Oh, we're at special committee reports. Mr. Dinoff?
Yes. Thank you. We held a technology committee meeting on October 27th, and I'm just going to read a brief update from the meeting. The committee discussed the availability of devices during testing and the use of STEM lessons. In some instances, computer labs were unavailable during park testing, and many devices were pulled from the classrooms in order to support testing. We want to ensure that continuation of technology instruction occurs uninterrupted. In addition, as the district works to implement the New Jersey Student Learning Standards for technology, we recognize that more emphasis is needed on the standards related to engineering concepts design. Computer teachers see elementary school students 2 days a week, which often makes project-based work difficult to see to completion. Bill Scarappa, elementary computer teacher at Memorial, Shepherd, and Carpenter schools, made a presentation outlining his engineering unit, which he taught during park testing to the committee. He focused on exploring engineering, showing students what engineering is, the various fields within engineering, and what types of skills are needed to be an engineer. During park testing, many classes did not have access to the computer lab or Wi-Fi. Even without Wi-Fi, he was able to use the iPads with his engineering lesson. Mr. Scarappa focused on civil engineers, software engineers, mechanical engineers, aerospace engineers, and also highlighted women engineers in each category. He was able to use free iPad apps with each lesson. It was found that these lessons worked very well in enhancing student knowledge and interest. Next, the committee discussed some status updates related to Wi-Fi and the core switches. Ms. Moran stated that our Wi-Fi and core switches updates are complete. An engineer from EIRC will meet with the district shortly to discuss improvements for next year. Some labs currently have a deficiency in wiring. These labs are currently using mini switches, which sometimes cause issues. There are about 6 labs throughout the district with mini switches that we will look to remedy. Next, the committee discussed the kindergarten Kindle pilot at Miller School. The district purchased a class set of 30 Kindle Fires for a kindergarten and preschool pilot program at Miller School. The cost of the Kindle Fire is $84 with a durable case. Mrs. Moran stated that the free apps were loaded onto the Kindles. These apps are the same ones which are used on the iPads. This will allow kindergarten and preschool students to acclimate to apps and give them exposure to using a device while at the same time saving money. Mrs. Moran stated that once the serial numbers of the Kindles are entered into the Amazon Whispercast website, the text can push apps and updates directly to the Kindles. We hope to invite Miller's kindergarten teachers to a future District Technology Committee meeting to provide further updates. The committee also discussed planning for the iPad end of lease. The district's final payment on the iPad lease is due January 2018. The focus of the Technology Roundtable will be to explore district plans after the iPads. So far, the district has had a good success rate with HP Streams. The Stream is a Windows-based product. Students log in with their network password and are able to work from home and have the opportunity to use all of the Microsoft products. With the HP Stream, we have started exploring Microsoft Classroom. Jim Yanizelli, teacher at Sauk, and high school teachers Fallon Quills and Tanya Goncalves are piloting Microsoft Classroom. Mr. Yanizelli displayed some examples of assignments and how they are embedded into the classroom. He also discussed how he uses resources from Discovery Education to create lessons which are rich in content. Mr. Yanizelli has offered Old Bridge Academy classes on Discovery Education and has worked with fellow teachers at Sauk School to infuse lessons with Discovery Education content. In further committee discussion, Judy Canos shared that the elementary computer teachers are using the Keyboarding Without Tears program, which has launched this fall for kindergarten and first grade classes. Students enjoy having their own accounts and the program is highly engaging. Keyboarding Without Tears complements Handwriting Without Tears, which is also used at the elementary level. Also, the next District Technology Roundtable meeting is scheduled for December 1st, 2016 at 3:45 p.m. in the afternoon, and the next District Technology Committee meeting is scheduled for January 12th, 2017 at 7 p.m. Both will take place in the Administration Building Conference Room. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dinoff. Anyone else? Jill?
I have a question. Did we decide that the Municipal Alliance fell under Public Relations? So is that a committee report or something at the end?
You are more than welcome to discuss that at this time.
Okay. It's a short report because the Municipal Alliance meeting was held the same day as Parent University. So there were 3 of us there at the Municipal Alliance, which is totally understandable. They had the Great American Smokeout at the high school on the 17th of November. We're still discussing getting the drug awareness education into every grade level. And I understand under curriculum, we're voting on something for grades 6 through 12 and still working on K through 5. So that's something, that we feel very strongly about. And I have, Ms. Tortorisi asked me to address more attendance by school, school personnel at the Municipal Alliance meeting. So I've spoken to Mr. Sasso about that, and we're working on that. That's it.
Okay. Any other meetings want to be announced next?
I don't have a, excuse me, I don't have a report, but I do have a meeting scheduled for Monday, the 28th, athletics, food services, and medical services. Everybody's welcome. These meetings are usually well-attended and very informative. Our head nurse will be there, our general manager of food services, I believe our new head chef, and of course, our new athletic director. They'll all be there to answer your questions. These are the people that train your children, feed your children, and heal your children. So if you can make it, 7 o'clock Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DePrima.
Madam President?
Yes, sir, Mr. Dunn.
Buildings, Grounds, and Transportation, we will have a meeting in December. We're not sure if it's going to be Wednesday the 7th or Thursday the 8th. That information will be circulated through the administration on the website, and notifications to the publications will occur. There's many issues that we need to discuss before the new year. ESIP program is moving, and also there's a couple of transportation matters for special needs children that we need to discuss, and that will be discussed on one of those nights, and that will be publicized. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions about committees? Facilities, does anybody have any questions, any discussion about the facilities report? All right, moving into our next area is the hearing of residents, and that is for items that are listed on the agenda only. I see Mr. O'Neill has his hand up, so We recognize you at this time.
Thank you. I'm Tim O'Neill from the OBEA, and tonight I'd like to talk about athletics. Specifically, I'd like to ask the Board of Education tonight to vote no on athletics items 2B and 3A, H, and P. Now, I have no problem with the coaches who are being recommended to be hired on these items, but I do have a very serious problem with the way that Jamie Sporer is being forced out of a position that she's held for the past 15 years. Jamie was a very successful softball player in both high school and college, and she's coached our Sandburg team for the past 15 years. In every one of those 15 years, she has received glowing evaluations from her supervisors. She is the most experienced softball coach that we have in this district, but she's being forced out of that position. Last year, there was a vacancy in the varsity head coaching position. Jamie applied and unfortunately was passed over in favor of an out-of-district, less experienced candidate. In fact, the candidate that was chosen was a player on Jamie's middle school softball team over 10 years ago. After being denied that position, Jamie planned to come back and maintain her current position coaching the middle school team at Sandburg. The job was posted as it is every year. Jamie applied for it, but unfortunately she was not brought back. Even more unfortunately, she was never notified by administration that she wasn't being brought back. She found out yesterday morning after tonight's agenda was already made public on the internet. This decision was made by an athletic director who left the district partway through the year and a new coach that was hired from outside the district. I'm asking the board to not approve these positions and to allow our new athletic director to complete the hiring process in a thorough and fair fashion. I think that this needs to be done to ensure that the final decisions are what is best for the athletes and reflective of a district of character. There are some other people here tonight who can speak to Jamie's character, qualifications, and performance more successfully than I can. But I'd like to also address Scott Beverly, who is addressed in item 2B under athletics. Scott is an incredibly active member of our high school community. He attends virtually every event at the high school. Years ago, he helped arrange the original fan buses for our away football games that have now become a staple of Friday nights in Old Bridge. He's been hosting our pep rallies for years. He was an original faculty advisor for the Knights of the Silver Bleachers, and he is now the only faculty advisor for the Knights of the Silver Bleachers. And I'll mention that he was doing all of these activities for free for the good of the students and the community for years until I noticed that there actually was a stipend he should have been getting and worked with Mr. Cittadino when he was a principal to get him some compensation. Scott has been coaching track in some capacity in Old Bridge since 2009. In the 2010 budget cuts, his position was eliminated. He chose to stay on as a coach, volunteered his time, and took his role as an assistant on the staff, even though he received no compensation from the district. Last year, due to administration's error, Scott was underpaid as an assistant on the winter track team by $850. We realized this error after the fact, brought it to administration's attention. They acknowledged that we were correct, but because it was after the fact, he didn't receive any of that compensation. Last year, he was also asked to apply for the girls' cross-country position and move from the boys' cross-country team that he was on. He did as he was asked, and he was hired by the Board of Education at the June 28th meeting on step 4. He has coached the entire season under the impression he was being compensated at step 4. It is only now, after the season's been completed, the work has been done, that administration is proposing to decrease his pay by over $1,000. Unfortunately, like Jamie's situation, Scott wasn't notified of this 25% decrease in pay by administration. He found out last week when I text messaged him after seeing the draft agenda from the board's meeting last week. Clearly, neither of these situations were handled in a way that is appropriate for a district of character. We've spoken a lot about character tonight. We know that in the school buildings, our students, staff, and faculty display a very high level of character. I'm asking tonight that the board show the same level of character and vote no on these items, and that the administration take these issues and handle them in a way that also displays a high level of character and gives these long-standing members of the community the respect that they deserve. Thank you.
Madam President, can I just ask Mr. O'Neill a quick question? It's just
Okay.
general question. You started by saying different letters. I missed which ones you said.
2B, 3A, H, and P. It's Scott Beverly and then all three softball positions because it's kind of a domino effect. When one is moved,
I just
other
missed
people
which
take those
letters you said.
positions.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Your hand was up next, come on. Come on down. You have to hit the button. Please state your name so that
Good
we...
evening. My name is Amy Woodruff. I'm joined by my neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Livet. We met Jamie approximately 6 months ago after our homes were destroyed by a fire. Jamie took it upon herself and orchestrated a fundraiser with the softball teams of the 2 middle schools. And alone, she made or raised, shall I say, over thousands of dollars for our homes and our families. And in a district of character, having never met this woman before in our lives, not having children that have ever been in her presence, it says a lot about a person. And we just ask you to take this into consideration and vote no tonight so she has a fair opportunity to try and get this position that she very well deserves.
Okay, thank you. The people that are with you, do you wish to speak while you're standing? No, okay. Girls, come on. Yes, give us your name.
Hi, my name is Jessica Ahern. I go to Old Bridge High School now. I came to Old Bridge in 7th grade, and she was my coach, Jamie Spohr. And I broke my arm in 7th grade, so I couldn't play, but I still participated with the team. I did the book. I also play travel softball and travel all over the country. She follows me through everything. She helps me. She knows so much about the sport. So whenever if I can't talk to my head coach that I play for, I can always call her and be like, hey, I'm struggling with something. Can you please help me or anything? I also helped participate with the fundraiser she held for the houses because I just wanted to help and I wanted to do everything I could. So she's a great person. So definitely take this into consideration. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mom.
I'm Gina Ahern, Jessica Ahern's mom. I met Jamie in 7th grade. My daughter started 7th grade, and she took my daughter on. I'm a single mom, disabled, and she took my daughter under her wing, and I couldn't do extra hitting, catching. My daughter's a catcher. And any kind of lessons, if you know Jamie, she was a catcher. Any kind of lessons that I needed extra that I couldn't afford to do, she would take the time and do it on the side. She does that for every kid on every team that she ever coaches for and will put her time. And she cares more about softball than she does anything else. And she cares about the community and the kids. She does cancer fundraisers. She's tried to have more coaches and more people in this town do fundraising with her and doesn't have enough people to help her. She does it every year and doesn't have the support. And thank God you've made the right decision to change your athletics director and the other coach that you had at the high school, because I think you made the best decision you ever could. But losing Jamie as our feeder program, I think will be the biggest mistake you ever make. Because she gets these girls ready, she gets them prepared, and she never loses track. She follows through. If you go on the website for Lawrence Harbor, she does all the photography. If you don't have the money, she won't charge you. She cares more about the community than a lot of people do. I think you need to look into her character and who she is before you take a position that she cared about more than anything. Please look into more than just taking this from her. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Girls, I see you have sweatshirts on, not to put you on the spot. Do any of you want to say anything? I mean, you came and you sat up front and center. This is your chance to speak up if that's what you wish to do.
I'm Sophia Vella. I'm Casey Lachlan. I'm Lindsay Trushin. And I'm Liliana Barbado. I'm Melissa Acevedo. We're all in 7th grade. And we were all 6th graders on Coach Spore's team last year. And she was just, like, when we were struggling with things, she helped us through it. And she was just the best coach that I've personally ever had. I mean, she helped us through everything, and she got us pumped for the games, and she helped us win. But the thing is, she did care about us winning, and she wanted to get us to win. But when we did lose, she helped us through that too. Like, you can't win every game. We weren't the best team, but she helped us be one of the best, and that's what matters.
Nicely put. All righty.
I like how she like going up there like she couldn't speak in public, and then she pulls out this great speech like she was prepared for like 3 weeks writing it, and she had it in her head. That was excellent.
No, it was on the... All right, girls, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Do you want to say something, hon?
I played on Miss Spore's team for 3 years, 6th through 8th grade. She helped me so much. In 8th grade, I ended up getting most valuable player because of her. And I'm so happy that you were my coach.
All right, we need to continue with the agenda at this time. Is there anybody else from the public that wants to speak on any agenda items? No, okay. All righty, then we'll move on and when we get to athletics. All right, policy, we have a first reading. Curriculum, 1 through 4. I do need a motion.
Dinoff will move curriculum items number 1 through 4.
Thank you, Mr. Dinoff. All right, I need a second.
Callie will second.
Thank you, Ms. Callie. Any discussion on those 4 items? Mr. Mara, roll call.
Dunn,
Yes.
Dinoff,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Andriani.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 4 pass.
thank you. I need a legal opinion here for a minute. I'm sorry for the sidebar, that's usually very unusual for us, but with matters of staffing and personnel, it's not something that we can talk about in public, and Mr. O'Neill raised, 3 specific items on the athletic agenda. And, we, in deference to what he has said, the outgoing athletic director, supervisor of phys ed has, many of these are his recommendations. So we do have a new person, and these have all been recommended. So Mr. O'Neill has a question about 3 of them, not the 27 of them. So there's a couple of different ways that we can handle it. Me personally, I would like to table the 2B until we get clarification on that salary guide issue. Again, not talking about it, Mr. O'Neill brought up,
You can ask Dr. Hoger a question about that. It's not a personnel issue, it's a salary issue.
it's a salary issue. Well, this is historical. Mr. O'Neill went back a year, 2 years already.
You can ask Dr. Hoger.
But
Well,
I don't
just
know
to
if you
give
have that
you,
information at the ready.
It's actually a difficult thing to clarify for you without all of the pieces there. However, this was researched through both the former athletic administrator, director, and the new athletic director, who we reviewed along with the secretarial staff, verifying the guides and where this particular coach should be. This stipend has not been paid out as of yet. So it's, I understand that it was in error put on an agenda at step 4 and should have been step 3B. Part of this is the coaching steps and how they're and again, to clarify it, there was a freeze in the coaching positions in this 2015 to 17 contract, and it has created some confusion. And there was a separate coach who brought it to our attention and questioned, and we researched, and that was back in August, and we made the correction. And I know Mr. O'Neill made reference to this particular coach. I'm not clear on what he's referencing and that there was any conversation that he was not entitled to money. I'm not sure what he's referencing. In this particular case, this was put on an agenda. It was an error. We have researched it and clarified the correct step, and the correct step is 3B.
Okay, and again, not talking about any particular person, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we have somebody with 7 years' experience, again, we're looking at step 3B.
It's 2 years per step.
It's 2 years per step. Okay. The other question, since again, I don't know how to do this without talk. It's salary. If somebody was not assumes that they were not paid at the correct salary and they brought it to administration's attention, is that something that you just said the season is over? Or is it
Absolutely not. We just, like I said, we had another coach that brought to our attention, an item was put on the agenda, they thought it was incorrect. They asked us to look into it. We looked into it. They were accurate. We made the change. And, just as with any kind of salary notations that are on an agenda, and we've even via email with 6-period pay and stipends and other information that goes out. If there's a staff member that finds that something is put on an agenda and it is an error, and they have a question about it, ask. If we are in error, we will correct it. We have no problem making that correction. There are sometimes situations when someone thinks that they are entitled to different pay, and we maybe don't agree on it, and we do our research and we can show them documentation as to why. If someone can show documentation as to why this should be something other than step 3B, then I'll be happy to review it, but I don't have that information. What I have is the history, and have reviewed it again with both athletic directors, and I don't see any other way where this should be step 4.
Okay, so then at this point, at least for this person, if we tabled it or voted no, then he's not on the agenda and we're not moving forward. My suggestion is that we keep that one on, and if we have further discussion or more research on that, we can rectify it at a later date. All right, so I'm seeing heads nod, I have at least 5, so that's what my plan is for that one. Mr. O'Neill, I see your hand up, however, we're not going to reopen the public portion, and I really don't want to get into a debate over that. We'll do that because it involves staffing and salary. We'll do that at the, in the office and have that taken care of. Okay.
Can I just say one thing?
Certainly.
Mr. O'Neill, if there is, I don't care if it was last year, if you come to me and talk to me about that someone wasn't paid $850, you don't have to do it here. I don't know why you, but I'm just, you had the public portion. I'm just, if there's a question about salary, and I don't know when you found out about this, you know my phone number, you know where my office is, you come down and you talk about it. That's part of the collective bargaining agreement with even the grievance process. That's where it takes place. To come to a public meeting to say this person is being paid wrong, or was paid wrong in the past, it's not collaboration how we work. So, I have that conversation with her, don't know when that would even take place, that if someone's entitled to salary.
Dave, let's not have a public debate on that.
And there was, as I said, another coach who sent me an email directly and said, could you take a look at this? I took a look at it and we made the correction. Just as when this was published and it was brought to our attention, it was originally step 2B and we verified it and confirmed it should be 3B. I mean, we're happy to make the correction if there's an error.
All right, thank you. Again, we'll discuss this in executive session at another point if anything else needs to be rectified or resolved. We need a motion first before we do anything.
You need a motion for athletics 1 through 3.
All right, so we need a motion, before we can go through anything else, we need a motion for athletics 1, 2, and 3, and then we can have discussion or decide anything else that we're going to do. So do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kelly. Now I need a second. I need a second.
Dinoff will second.
Thank you. Now, no, we have, we're gonna, 1 through 3, and now we can have a discussion about how you want to proceed procedurally with the rest of
Can we
this.
separate that out?
We certainly can, but we need a reason.
Madam
Mr.
President,
DePrima?
yeah, due to recent changes in athletic hierarchy and public concern, I'd like to table item 3, letters A, H, and P.
I'd like to separate item 2B for voting.
Before we go into anything else, Mr. DePrima has placed a motion to table on the table.
And
So
just-
that would need a second to move forward.
I'll second Mr. DePrima's motion.
And now you have discussion on the motion to table, DePrima and Dunn.
Just to be clear, the tabling, we will revisit this and hopefully come to a,
Yeah, you're tabling this for further discussion, and it'll assumedly the positions will hit the agenda again in December. What those recommendations and votes look like is a question for December, if the motion to table is successful.
All right, do we have discussion on tabling, or are we moving forward with a vote on whether or not to table? We need a vote. Okay, so Mr. Mayor, we need a roll call on, let's get the wording right.
On Mr. DePrima, seconded by Mr. Dunn's motion to table items 3, A, H, and P to December.
Okay.
Dinoff,
Yes.
DePrima,
yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Andriani.
Yes.
So the motion to table 3A, H, and P passes.
Okay, so now we're going to move forward with, we're going to table 2A, H, and P. No. 3,
Three
A,
A,
3
H, and
H, and
P.
P. All right.
And
So
then-
now we're going to vote on 1, 2, and 3 2B is separated.
It might be easier to vote on 2B and then vote on everything else.
Okay. All right.
That's the question.
So, Mr. Mayor, we want a roll call on 2B.
Okay, Dinoff?
Yes.
Oh, wait, we have discussion.
Discussion on 2B?
Discussion. Mr. Weber?
The effective date is 8/15, so was the administration first made aware of this sometime 30 days beyond that date?
It's when the coaching position started.
No, I'm trying to get how this 30-day deal works as far as the union thinking that they have a right to 30 days. If it goes beyond the 30 days and the administration
issues.
hasn't corrected it, then shouldn't it be historically held at the other rate and then you correct it going forward? Would be my thought.
Okay, my
Meaning if the
understanding is that,
administration didn't make a correction within the 30 days after the August 15th date, by September 15th, or 29th, whatever the case may be, that their right to make the adjustment should be forfeit just as the union's right to grieve it, at least to my way of thinking.
I'm thinking we'll
We'll vote
different
no
issues.
accordingly, so.
All right, so we're voting on 2B unless there's further discussion. No more discussion. Okay, Mr. Mayor, we're going to vote on 2B as
Dinoff?
is.
Yes.
Dinoff?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Callie?
Yes.
Singh?
No.
Weber?
No.
Dunn?
Yes.
Andriani?
Yes,
2B passes.
okay. So now,
Now you're,
Now we're
any
voting.
further, any
We're
further
voting on
discussion
one-
and voting on everything else?
right. Any discussion on 1 or 3 with the
2A.
exception, or 2A, or the, I have too many notes here.
Everything else.
No, everything. There you go. Any discussion? All right, Mr. Mara, roll call.
Dinoff?
Yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Callie?
Yes.
Singh?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Andriani?
Yes. All right.
So everything else passes.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so, and with that, I will suggest again, we're moving into finance. I know a lot of you were here for the one coaching situation. That we will have further discussion on, and we'll move forward, huh? So if, ladies, go home, do homework. Have a graceful exit. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate you exercising your right to come and speak in public. Thank you very much.
Did you win?
Did you win, Powder Puff?
Yes, Junior B the seniors.
All right, we lost Mr. Weber, just so that you know. Mr. Weber's gone. He made a graceful exit as well. Okay, at this point, we're moving into finance. I need a motion, 1 through 12.
I will move it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I need a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. All right, any discussion?
Is, just clarification, is 6 blank,
Yes,
really?
yes, Mr. Mara was going to
Okay.
have an announcement.
We are administratively removing item number 6.
Okay, so the vote is for 1 through 12, with 6 being removed because it is vacant at this time. Any discussion on those? All right, Mr. Mara, roll call.
You have a motion?
Yes. Yes, yes.
DePrima?
Yes.
Ellis Foster?
Yes.
Callie?
Yes. Yes.
Singh?
Yes.
Weber? Dunn?
Yes.
Dinoff,
Yes.
Andriani.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 12 excluding 6 pass.
thank you. All right, Roman numeral 20, non-certificated personnel office. It is only one item at that point. We need a motion.
Dinoff will move non-certificated personnel office, item number 1.
Thank you. Second.
Callie will second.
Thank you, Ms. Callie. Discussion. Mr. Mara, roll call.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
Weber, Dunn,
Yes.
Dinoff,
Yes.
Andriani.
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Okay, thank you. All right, non-certificated personnel operational has no items. 22, non-certificated personnel other, which is 1 through 9. I need a motion.
I'll make a
second.
motion.
Ms. Callie's 1.
I'll get my name in the minutes.
Thank you. Mr. DePrima is 2. Any discussion on these? No. Mr. Mara, roll call.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
Weber, Dunn,
Yes.
Dinoff,
Yes.
Andriani.
Yes.
Resolution 1 through 9 passes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mara, I should note that Mr. Weber is no longer with us, so I don't know if it's necessary for you to call, for you to continue to call his name at this point.
He didn't advise me that he was leaving. So.
Well, he told me, so I just didn't know if you wanted to keep calling his name. All right, certificated personnel 1 through 24.
Dunn will move certificated personnel items 1 through 24, Madam President.
Thank
Dinoff
you.
will second.
Thank you. Double D. At this point, do we have any discussion on any items 1 through 24?
Can I just ask a question? Because, I'm
If
sorry.
you must, Ms.
I
Kelly-
shall,
Kelly
thank you. Can I just have clarification, because it's new, and I'm just curious what it is. It looks like a very good, interesting program on number 15. Can you just have a little synopsis? Is this new, or is this just for, is this grant? Is that what?
No, it's not new, and it's...
It's not new to the
grant-generated.
district.
Huh?
It's,
Right, okay, but it is not, that's what I'm saying. It's not a new program. It's just the, okay, because that's all I was making sure. Thank you.
All right, I've just been informed that it's approximately 5 years old, the program. All righty. Any more discussion? Any other questions?
Yes. On item number 1, I just want to thank Mrs. Stanton again for her service to the district. I also see Dr. Rosen is retiring at the end of this year, and Dr. Rosen is truly an extraordinary counselor, and he's helped hundreds and hundreds of students achieve their goals. So I really appreciate all his work for the district for 15 years, and I wish him well in retirement. Thank you.
Madam President, I know you're trying to rush this through, but just to,
no.
just to reiterate what Jeff just said, Dr. Rosen, on a personal note, thank you for what you did for my daughter all through her school years, if you're watching. Thank you.
And one more point. On item number 4, just if someone can refresh my memory, is this just moving up the tenure date? Was this not the individual that was brought on at step 13? Was that a different chemistry position? I think I might have been mixing them.
Number 4.
Number 4. This is,
Yes, he started earlier than we anticipated.
okay, so this was not the step 13 candidate. That was the one from last meeting, correct? I know there were 2 different chemistry positions, so like one was 9, one was 13, and I thought last meeting's was 9. So
and I'd have to verify. I think this is the step 13, and maybe that is an error. We don't have multiple that are step 13.
I hope not.
We only
Okay,
had
good.
one. So I think that might be an error. The only reason this was added on was the amendment to the actual date.
So is it okay to approve this now, and then we can amend it the step after? We'll look into that. Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else? Mr. Mara, roll call.
Callie,
Yes. Yes.
Singh, Dunn,
Yes.
Dinoff,
Yes.
DePrima, Ellis Foster,
Yes.
Andriani.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 24 pass.
thank you. All right, non-certificated personnel transportation, 1 and 2, I need a motion.
Dinoff will move non-certificated personnel transportation, items number 1 and 2.
Thank you, Mr. Dinoff. I need a second.
I will second.
Ms. Ellis Foster is a second. Any discussion on those two items? Mr. Mara, roll call.
Singh,
Yes.
Dunn. Yes. Dinoff. DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes. Mine's fine.
Tally,
Yes.